Welcome back to Between Two Racks with the Kilo Crew. On today's episode, we're going to keep it a little bit more casual and talk our favorite and least favorite training sessions. Now, let's kick it. So I want to reverse the order of that because I want to get started with our least favorite first. So, Alex?
I have a lot of least favorites. I think it all stems from when I was competing. So because they told me I was too muscular.
Boo.
Boo. I wish I had the wisdom I have now. But so I did a lot of things to try to mitigate getting too much muscle. So I would say some of them were like the really, really, really slow tempos where it's the 5-0-5-0s, but on everything. So on dips, on chin-ups, on it was just brutal. I was
Would that mitigate muscle growth?
I mean, that was what we were hoping just because. Just because you can't use that much weight.
If you do it for a long time, it'll definely mitigate muscle growth.
Yeah, so that was one of them. But then there was another one that was it was 5-4-3. This is Porrick's favorite. I told him. So it's 5-4-3-2-1, but literally on everything again. So calf raises, abs, it was just
I just want to make sure everybody knows I did not write this program.
Yes.
Any of these programs.
So this is the other thing. So Steph's been training me for what? Since 2000 probably.
Yeah, pretty much.
So 24 years. But sometimes I like to try something else. So then I was well, maybe if I just do this or if I do that. And then I tried with other people, and then it was always crazy stuff. So came back.
I would just like everyone to take a second to appreciate doing 1RMs on standing calf raise and Swiss ball crunch. It's so hilarious.
And this was in preparation for a competition?
Yeah, yeah.
It was part of the periodization leading up to the competition. And didn't you have the 5-4-3-2-1 on this weird? I always forget the name of that where it's a
lunge,
good morning into
a
squat or something.
Yeah, so I would with a barbell. So I would lunge forward, and then
good morning
onto one leg, and then bring the other foot back, and then squat it up.
Yeah, 5-4-3-2-1.
Let's say my loads weren't appropriate for the intensities.
That's what I was going to say. Your loading was just...
It was just whatever. It was...
Just survive.
Just try not to get crushed by the bar.
Any other first ones that come into your mind, or are those kind of your...
And then there was another thing. It wasn't a program, but for one of my comps, because we didn't have any cardio equipment, so then I had to do something for cardio. So then I just did the prowler, and I literally did the prowler 4 times a week for 12 weeks. The actual prowler, the low hand. I mean, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or so. And it was just, and I was training with Sarah, and so it was I go, you go, so we would, whatever. So it wasn't consistent, but my hip flexors. I think that's when my lower back started to hurt.
Funny that.
My hip flexors were so jacked up. I was walking around bent over.
A lot of your aches and pains you have today stems from those uber repetitive movements you've done either with the cardio or stuff like that.
Because I did, and before that, when I was doing the 6 hours of cardio, I would do the Stairmaster, the one that would so that was short steps, again, all hip flexor, just everything really tight. And I've never been able to run really. I've done sprints and stuff, but jogging was never a thing. So it was always the equipment. So I think that kind of definitely added to to all the aches and pains.
Definitely didn't help.
Definitely didn't help.
Porrick, least favorite?
Least favorite was German volume trim. It is hard. But that was never the biggest issue. It was the absolute repetitiveness of the training session, to the point where this was before we had apps and shit. So I couldn't keep track of what set I was on. So I had to have Post-its on the squat rack and take one Post-it off per set, so I could keep a count to make sure I didn't fuck it up.
For our listeners who don't know, can you explain what GBT is?
GBT is 10 sets of 10 with a starting load of 60% of 1 RM. So you do that for week 1, and if you get all your reps, you can go up slightly. But it's incomplete rest, so about 60 seconds if you're doing a antagonist superset, about 90 to 120 for a standalone station, and it's just brutally boring.
So boring. I've done that too.
Yeah, no, it's awful. I've done it twice. I don't know why I did it the second time. I thought maybe the magic happened the second time. It still didn't happen.
When was this? How long ago?
Oh, this was at least 10 years ago.
When you were little pork?
Little. It didn't make me any bigger.
And it's usually on compound movements?
Compound movements, yeah.
Okay.
So I think for the very first time I tried to do it with chin-ups, which was not a good plan. Like, I was good at chin-ups.
How many reps? You did 10?
Oh, well, I did until I couldn't. So the second time I did it on lat pull down or row, depending on what the split was. But yeah, squats, bench press, dips, all the big movements, and assistance movement in the B series, and that's it. So it's brutal, but it's just stupidly boring.
Yeah.
Then the next one after that, again, was like 10 years ago, and it possibly even longer, was giant sets. But giant sets in a really, really badly equipped gym with all the equipment was 40 years old. So it was a lot of compound movements. And then maybe the last exercise was on a machine, which the machine, I wouldn't say was the smooth machine. It was, you maybe hit some rust, so that would affect the resistance curve of the machine. So that wasn't much fun either. But yeah, those two are the worst, but it's one's for the pure boredom of it and the repetitiveness. The other one was exhausting, and it was nearly impossible to pull off in the gym setting that I was in. Yeah. It was awful.
Have you ever done the 100 rep method?
Just like as little sets as possible?
Well, like the goal is you hit 100 reps total on your compound lift, but you start with a 8 to 12 RM load. And then it's incomplete recovery, and then you just keep going until you hit 100.
I've never done it as a phase. I've done it as a one-off session.
Because, I mean, it kind of has the boredom element of the German volume. Yeah. But I find it a little more motivating to do because of that rep target. Yeah. And then when you do it on chin-up, like it sucks because you might hit your 100 reps in 8 or 11 sets on press, but then it might take like 22 sets on chins to reach it.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
And I'm sure Alex hasn't done this, but I'd like to think Steph has done it at one stage, and you run the rack doing dumbbell curls.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So obviously it wouldn't work here with 150-pound dumbbells, but that's one thing we've done before.
What are you saying you did?
So you run the rack. You start with the heaviest dumbbells and do as many curls as possible with that. Okay. Once you can't do any more, you move on to the next one. So with incomplete rest, you go down. So the last set, you've got 5 pounds in your hands and you get like 3 reps. It's so stupid, but
it's one of these things where it pays off to be weak because you don't need to start with that crazy heavy dumbbell.
Yeah. So I've done that. Done a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, this episode isn't necessarily a recommendations for training.
What not to do. I've tried it.
Steph?
I mean, me, I have 2 I want to talk about, but they're for kind of like pork. They're for a different reason. Like honestly, my least favorite, and then for you guys to understand why, you need to understand the context. So I started lifting at 11. My dad got, as a Christmas gift, he got a Italian bodybuilding book that was translated in French. So that was my first training Bible. Read that book a million times and followed the programs in that book. But they're like those super long 2-hour, 6 days a week programs. Then I got the Arnold Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, got excited starting to do these workouts. And it's kind of like the same thing. So at one point, when I was about 16 years old, I was tired of doing all this training for minimal results. So I decided to buy Heavy Duty 2 by Mike Menzer. And I read the book, and I got super excited because I'm like, oh, my God, now I can look like Mike Menzer by only training. It was something like 2 workouts every 14 days or something like that. But it was the heavy duty method, which means like, let's say 6 to 8 exercises per workout, 1 exercise per muscle group, 1 set, 8 rep-ish, but you go to full-blown failure. But I'm 16, right? So it's not like I have the greatest load. But anyways, I do this workout. I finish 27 minutes later. Yeah. I don't feel nothing. So then I go back home, waiting 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours.
I see Steph waiting.
Like, staring at the calendar.
What the hell? When am I able to train again? So then I did my second workout, so same thing. I lasted 2 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I mean, come on. I'm not doing this. Yeah, no. I don't care that I'm not going to look like Mike Menzer. I just want to have fun training, and that was just way too boring for me. So, but it doesn't really count. I've only did it 2 weeks. I read the whole book for 2 weeks of training. Never opened that book ever again. I still have it, but my true least favorite, and it was my least favorite because it was honestly the most brutal training I've ever done in my life. I was the context here again is super important. So in Quebec, only in Quebec, we have this school system where high school is a year less and university is a year more. And then we have a transition school called CJEPs where it's 2 years. So my first year in CJEP, I was playing football. I was a tailback, I was a running back. And I didn't start my first year. And one of the reasons is, I was only 16 and the starter was 22. But he told me I needed to put on some muscle. So during that off season, me, my friend Sylvain, who was on the team, and my friend Jean-Philippe, who was on the team as well. Jean-Philippe was a slot back. And we started training, the 3 of us. And we were living at the dorms in CJEP, and the gym was like, 2 minutes away. And it was at the time where we bought, it was called Weight Gainer 2000. And it said on the bottle, drink 4 scoops in 1 liter of milk 15 minutes before your training session. So we're doing that because we want to get jacked. So we chugged this, walked to the gym. Of course, I didn't really warm up.
So that's been a long
It's been a long time. We go right into the workout. But the workout that we did, I bought during that summer, I asked for my birthday, a Cybergenics supplement package. Like it was $60. Like you had an AM pill and a PM pill. And it came with a little booklet. It was called Cybergenics Fusion Training Program. And we did that program for the entire off season. And it was brutal. It's like a souped up pre-post exhaustion, basically. So like the lower body session was leg extension to failure, to squats to failure, to leg press to failure, to hack squat to failure, to leg extension again. And then you had lunges at the end for some reason. It was something like that. But at that gym, there was no incline leg press. It was the old school vertical leg press. Oof. So that was the third exercise, vertical leg press. So for those of you who've never done it, think about having 10 minutes prior, 1.5 liter of 2,000 calorie weight gainer in your belly.
And milk.
And you're doing vertical leg press with the quads just busting onto your abdomen.
So the vertical leg press, you're
lying on your
torso
back on the floor, and
yep.
you're pressing at the ceiling, basically. But and it was 5 sets of that, like full blast. And then we had abs and calves at the end and all that kind of stuff. But we did this. So that was like one leg workout, and it was 4 or 5 sessions per week. The 3 of us did it. But after the first session, we go back to the dorms. I was living on the 2nd floor. Sylvain and Jean-Philippe was on the 1st floor. And we both had a course the next morning at 9 a.m. I was studying social science. It was a sociology course. I go in, and Jean-Philippe isn't there. I'm like, what the hell is Jean-Philippe? And the class ended at 12. So by 12, we go back to the dorms. We approach his room, and we can hear in the background, brap, 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 brap. What the hell is that? So we knock to his door. Then at one point, yeah. Jean-Philippe's like, it's open. It's unlocked. So we open, we get in. The alarm is blasting. He's lying in bed, not moving. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm unable to move. The alarm has been on for 4 hours. And I can't move. I'm too sore. But it was brutal. But that off-season, Jean-Philippe, it was crazy. He went from 178 pounds or something like this, and he had like pristine skin, perfect skin.
Yeah, that milk.
After no, it's not that.
Before the milk.
After that off season, he put on so much size that he had stretch marks like everywhere.
Oh, damn.
No.
Everywhere, like stretch marks on the pecs, everywhere, triceps. But he went, kid you not, he went from 178 to 206 or something like that.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to the winter camp, the slot back coach was like, man, you're way too big. So so they put him with the O-line. So he became a tackle.
This was primarily your fault.
He was so pissed. I don't want to play tackle. I thought I'd be so he just put on too much weight. But yeah, so that to me, I mean, it was a fun experience, but it was my least favorite because we were 17, 18. We hammered it like crazy, hardcore. Didn't miss a session. And it was just pukey every freaking workout. It didn't matter if it was upper or lower. So that was tough.
That's brutal.
So I have a side question. Why do guys get so many stretch marks on their pecs when they're kids? It's so weird, right? Like, why is it only the pecs that get the stretch marks?
It's like
and it's not like they have crazy, ginormous...
I don't know. Like I don't have the biggest, but me it's the same thing. Like my pecs grew that off season, and that's how I got my stretch marks as well.
Yep.
So they all slam upper a bunch.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
It's interesting.
If we look at my dad's genetic, I just think my genes were like the signal from my gene is like you're not meant to be big, so your skin is not stretchy.
I think it's because you don't moisturize. Women moisturize.
So yeah, least favorite, Cybergenics Fusion Program 1994.
Yeah, one I forgot to bring up, but it was never a full program, but it was something I'm sure both of you had done at some stage. Breathing squats.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you've never done breathing squats?
I've never been good at squatting. So.
Yeah, so I remember I've done them both as an A series and as a finisher. And
what are breathing squats?
Breathing squats are you're going to load the bar with a 10 to 12 RM and you do 20 reps. And the bar doesn't be sat back down, so you do as many as you can. Stop, take a couple of breaths, do 1 or 2, couple of breaths, 1 or 2, but the bar's constantly on your back. And if you believe old school strength coaches, you're going to put on 100 pounds doing these, which also didn't happen. But I've done them, and they kick your ass. I near say they're better as a finisher because when you did them in the A series, you weren't able to do anything else after it. But I remember doing them a few times.
I did better. I did 100.
Just 100?
Of the squats.
Oh, shit.
That was it. That Jogsum thing. That was one of my programs too. 100 squats. And then, take the rest that I needed to take. But they were probably body weight. By the end, they were definitely body weight. Okay,
yeah, the things we believed back then in terms of
the results.
Especially the bodybuilding training theory.
Yeah.
Well, because it's all like stuff that they've just done, right? Like, oh yeah, this person did this one thing and then it worked. Like it's always an N of one.
But that's what's funny too. Like this just made me think about this. It's like, like I did that Cybergenics Fusion program and that Arnold Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding program while I was playing football. So but me, like I guess like all of us, at least up in Quebec in the 90s, for us, if you're an athlete and you strength train, it's to get jacked.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I'm training to get jacked so I can be a better football player. There was no such thing as sports specific, and it's to the point when college and stuff, when the strength coach tried to give us like sports specific stuff, I was like, that's not what Arnold did.
Yeah, no,
waste of time. But now it's the opposite, right? Kids are more like, there's all these centers where it's all about like little drills and agility, and like there's zero attention spent on grinding and really strength training.
Yeah, and they're weak and fragile because of it.
Yeah, I was playing running back. I got one sprained ankle. That's it. And to my knowledge, zero concussion, to my knowledge.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you had a few.
Maybe.
Yeah. To my knowledge, out of all the sport I played, never got a concussion. Like, I know it's a thing, but just being more robust definitely helps reduce the chances of that.
Yeah.
My least favorite. Honestly, like it's hard for me to come up with a least favorite. Not a bunch of specific sessions pop up in my head. You were asking like GBC, stuff like that. And yeah, it's hard, but it's not like I look back at it and I hate it so much. But the one thing that always comes up in my mind is when Alex and Steph started training all of the office employees when they started working at Poliquin. And I was one of the office employees, and I was the youngest by probably about 10 years. I was still in high school, well, fresh out of high school at the time. So I had been an athlete, been playing sports. Everyone else that worked in the office wasn't as athletic.
Little office ladies.
And Steph started to kind of obviously pull more towards me because I was a little bit more fun to train. And one of the first training sessions he took me through, there was leg press. And I don't even remember what it was, but at the time, it was also when we were always pounding the BCAAs. Is that what it was?
The pills, yeah.
The pills. And how did it work? Because it was like multiple pills throughout the session.
Yeah, it was like a certain amount of gram in regards to your body weight. So for you, it probably was about 20 pills.
Yeah, and I remember, and I don't enjoy taking supplements
and
as
she takes
it is.
like one at a time, so like 20 years later.
So it was during the training session, and I was taking all of the BCAAs, and I think it was like 2 sets in, and the leg press was at the end of the workout, and I was getting so brutally nauseous, and then the restroom was like in the gym, and I like snuck into the gym, threw up, came back out, kept doing the leg press with him, went back into the bathroom, threw up. And it was years until I actually told him that I got sick during that session.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that just reminds me, like, side story, but it's kind of a funny one. Like, that was in 2008. So I'm training Steven Jackson, and it's the first time that he's taking the peri-workout nutrition. So at the time, like with Charles, like it was like BCAAs and beta-alanine. So with Steven, because he was like 240 something, he straight up in a solo cup, he had 75 pills that he had to take through his workout. But I guess I didn't do a good job to explaining the process, because we're just about to warm up. I give Steven his solo cup. I turn around to load up the bar. And as I'm done loading the bar, I look back at Steven. He had emptied the entire cup. Took the 75 pills like in one shot.
Only a guy can do that. I don't understand how they can take pills like that. It's so crazy.
But even like doing all the conditioning with the MLB and NHL guys, like doing conditioning while smashing, like the amount of
Like burps.
Powder
powdery.
burps. Like,
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It's not fun.
So much better now with all the insta-thighs like EAAs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so
Powders.
happy that between my age and my accessibility of things being
No,
from
no.
where I'm from, I didn't have to do any of this shit.
Because you would have.
I would have, but I didn't have the chance.
I do want to bring up Steph because on the last episode you talked about how much you hate lower body, but you still do lower body in recent days. Yeah, and you have great legs. So don't act like I don't want everyone thinking Steph doesn't train lower body.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't train. I'm just saying I don't like training it.
What's your worst lower body session memory?
Well, I mean, that cybergenics.
That one? Okay.
I mean, I was young as hell, but think about it. I'm like 17, 18, and to this day, that was one of my hardest.
What about when you guys
I was
did the
going to say the
reindeer
leg
thing?
press.
Our triceps.
The countries?
Oh, that there. Okay. Well, I get to that one. So the triceps during the hypertrophy macro, I'm pretty sure was the sorest I have ever been.
No, that was absolutely brutal. But I just, for the viewers, I just want to reiterate something, or not reiterate because I didn't bring it up, but obviously we work in 3-week meso.
Yes.
That cybergenics phase was like 8 or 9 weeks straight of doing that.
And you did it?
Oh yeah, man. We were 3 people. That's why we kept ourselves motivated. And we wanted to be big. We wanted to be starters, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that hypertrophy macro was pretty brutal. And then, like for me, just training with you
Yeah.
motivated me more.
That quad tricep. Because we had broke up into quads and hamstrings 2 separate days, but the quad tricep was squat, or was it quad squat? Do you remember? I think
It was a heels elevated squat.
heels elevated safety bar squat,
Yeah.
pendulum squat,
Yes.
leg press. Can't remember the reps, but it destroyed me so badly. 5 sets.
It was 10, 12, and
15
20.
or 20. Okay, yeah.
For those of you who want to do the 12-week
Oh, it's still
hypertrophy
there, yeah.
macro cycle that the 3 of us did, it's hypertrophy training bundle number 6 on kilolife.com.
Yeah, it sucks.
Challenge.
But no, it's great for it.
It's great, but
For results.
it's gonna suck.
But the thing too is I'm not good at it. I'm not saying this, but in my lifetime I've had way more bodybuilding workouts under my belt than you do.
Oh, hell yeah. You've seen most of my bodybuilding workouts in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And they're usually in your transition
Yeah.
phase.
And then, I mean, the leg press challenge you guys did for Christmas.
What Alex is bringing up, so the leg press challenge, we did 1 rep for every country in the world, so 195. And I know that was a controversial number for some reason, because Steph was saying we included a country
That wasn't.
but
Well, it's the whole
Taiwan?
Hong Kong, China.
Oh, it was that one?
Oh.
Okay. And then we did 45 pounds for each of Santa's reindeers.
Yes. I was like, I knew the reindeers were involved.
So it was, we did the 225 for the last reindeer for Rudolph because his nose is so red.
Science.
And to make the sled to be even on both sides. But so we did it, and it's just do it as quickly as possible, rest as needed. And I can't remember, it's like 4 or 7 or 8 minutes each, wasn't it? It was something
Wasn't it
stupid.
longer?
It's more than that.
It was like 12.
I think I was 17 minutes and you were
okay.
13 minutes.
Okay. But what we would like to reiterate for anyone who's tried that challenge is the Atlantis sled alone is 135 pounds, I
I
think.
think so.
So
The best part is we posted this as a challenge, and
Yeah.
we're like, yeah, a bunch of people are going to do this.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
I think
Well,
it was
Like
but-
4?
Yeah.
But like Sebastian, if you're watching, I'm still not buying your number because Sebastian, one of my longtime online client, like he did it, and he said that he did it in like 7 or 8
yeah.
minutes.
yeah, and it was easy.
I'm like, were you
Yeah.
doing like
Yeah, no.
top 1/8 or I'm like, come on, man.
It was so bad.
Was it like a Fisher Price like press? Like I don't know.
Canadian pounds.
Yeah, it's worth less.
Half. What the US is.
Okay, now since we've been negative on a bunch of things, I think we can flip it over to some of our favorite training sessions or programs or anything we've done.
My favorite is really just the upper one, lower one, upper two, lower two. I like.
So like the primate, like the straight up primate.
Yep. I like just, simple. I can, well, not simple. Well, it is simple, but it's not like grueling. I can rest.
Well, if it's not grueling, it's because you're not using enough weights.
I can use enough weight, but it's not the same as like GBCs and all that crazy stuff. So, yeah.
I have two. So very, very standard training, but with the caveat of being somewhere between 4 and 6 reps is probably my preference. Like fancy loading schemes are always fun, like a 7-7-5-5-3-3 step load or stage descending. But the more training I'm getting, the more I try to avoid them now because they kill me.
Yeah.
So I'm really lean more and more towards just standard and the step load. I know it's not the best for pushing the strength gains, but sometimes it's
for productivity in the afternoon after we train.
It's way better. And then I'm really enjoying power training.
Yeah.
So like some sort of contrast, whether it's just a straight up max effort into a plyometric or into some sort of explosive strength. I'm really enjoying that as well. So I find it a really good way to maintain strength while somewhat deloading the overall volume of the training that I'm doing at that time.
That's good. Me, my favorite, I have like 2.5, 3.
2.5.
What
does that mean?
No, it's like two of them are very similar. But my favorite that I've done, and that was like leading up to a lot of my PRs earlier in my training career, but it's the supramaximal wave-like loading, where it's basically a 5-3-2 wave, but so you do 5 reps on a 4-0-x-0, and then the next set. So let's say you're doing a agonist antagonist double station superset. You take 120 seconds rest. You do your heavy antagonist, then you come back to the main movement, but now you do a eccentric only. Like you'd start at 100%, and then you just do, you go down in 8 seconds, and you do 5 reps. And then you move on to 3 reps concentric, and then 3 reps down in 8 seconds, but with 105.
Yep.
Then you do 2 reps concentric, then you do 2 reps eccentric only of 8 seconds, but at 110 or 115, depending on how you felt. So basically, you're switching around between concentric and eccentric only, leading up to supramaximal. So by the time I would reach my last week of training, I'd finish with about 120% on my last wave of eccentric only. So I love the strain of the supramax eccentric, but I love that it was combined with concentric, so it was just not like slamming you with just a ton of just eccentric only. So I like the mixture of both.
And I'm sure you even get a better strength response since you're still getting the concentric reps in.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that it was such a good step towards my peaking.
I would think so.
Because I think that let's say I would have done 7 or 8 sets of eccentric only. I mean, that's great to really just drive the eccentric load, but I would have needed to use this way earlier.
Yep.
To peak better. Then my second favorite has to be the modified head burn, where you're doing 8 sets of 1 with a 4-0 or 5-0x0. Like you want a slow eccentric. And then the B exercise, it's a very, like almost the same exercise. You might alter the implement or the grip position, and then you do 5x5 with the same tempo. So I like to train heavy. I like to do multiple sets of the same things. I'm a little bit opposite of you guys. I like to, like, what bores me, like if you really want to bore me and demotivate me, give me a workout with 12 or 15 exercises in it.
Yeah.
If you want to make me happy and excite me, like 4 or less, I'm happy with.
Yeah.
So I like multiple sets. Then another one, like my half one, which is kind of similar. It's called, I learned it from Charles. He calls it the Hungarian method. And I'm assuming it's from the Hungarian scientist. I'm forgetting his name there. But anyways, it's big compound movement. Again, A1, A2, agonist, antagonist, superset. But it's 8x5.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. 8x3 to 5, 4-0x0, and just pounding your big primary at multiple sets. So I like that style.
Yeah, I've never done that. I've done the patient lifter one a few times, and it's always really good if you're happy enough just to do the same thing for an extended period of time. It always works.
Yeah, it works well because it's such a, especially for those who are trying to really know their loads better, because you're being patient with it and you're spending more time. People tend to have a better understanding of where they're at.
What is it again?
So you use a range, right? So let's say you're doing a 6x2 to 4. So let's say that your 4RM is 200 kilos. Well, you start a little lighter, like a little bit more conservative. So let's say 190. I'm sorry. Your 4RM is 200 kilos. So you start at 200 kilos, but you only do 2 reps. So you do the bottom of the range.
Yeah.
And then the day that you complete your 6 sets of 2 at 200, then you try 6 sets of 3.
Yep.
Then 6 sets of 4. And then the day that you do all 6 sets of 4, then you go up by 2.5% and you play the same game again.
It's kind of what we do with chin-ups.
Yeah.
When we're increasing.
Very similar. Very
same.
similar.
Yep.
Yeah. It's always done for lower reps. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't think you've done it because I don't have the patience for this one. Have you ever done like the Paul Anderson method, that you just start with, say it's a quarter squat, and then every week use the same load and drop it by an inch? You get the whole way down.
Never did that.
I just love strength training. I don't know if I necessarily have like a specific favorite again.
But see, that's a guy thing. Guys always have like specifics, favorites, and all that stuff. I feel like females were like, oh, we like.
I mean, I genuinely, I don't know.
I like the changing. Yep.
But in terms of Steph, we know you prefer upper body training. I prefer lower body. I always have. I did start to like upper body once I could do chin-ups proficiently, so that was cool. Alex, upper or lower?
I mean, upper probably. I'm better at upper than lower. But I wish I was really good at squatting because I like to squat. It just doesn't feel good.
Porrick?
Definitely upper, but the caveat is the deadlift is still my favorite lift.
Okay, so your favorite lift is deadlift.
Yeah, but if you're going to give me a choice to do an upper body session or a lower body session, but if you're going to say, all right, you have one lift to do, probably going to pick deadlift.
Yeah. It's a good one to have as a favorite too.
Yeah.
Steph, your favorite lift?
My favorite lift is deadlift. I mean, honestly, favorite workout is probably the laziest of all would be a arm workout.
Yes, but you say that, but you've already thrown up from doing arms too. So it's not the easiest.
Okay, that is true. I've thrown up from a buy and try workout. But I mean, like when I did track and field at university, I puked after a 200-meter sprint. Like one sprint, not repeated. Like it was one sprint and I puked. So that just shows you how poor I do with lactate. So yeah, even arms can mess me up. But I still, I mean, But see, I say that, but when's the last time I did a arm workout? Like in 20.
Well, you have one in this.
I have one now that I just I'm doing it today actually, but
But your split's a little bit different for this phase, isn't it?
yeah, I'm just trying to challenge my tricep a little bit more. But honestly, like a standalone arm workout, I think the last time was in 2015.
Did we not do? No, we would have done one during the.
Oh, the hypertrophy.
Man,
Well, that was
that's true.
It was shoulders and arms.
Yeah.
But
So, it's not-
yeah, but that's true. We did it in 2022
Yeah.
or during the 2 accumulation phases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So still not a lot, but
Yeah.
on the Paul Anderson's one, and I think this story's correct. So if it's not, someone can fact check me. So for deadlift, he did the same thing, but how he did it was dug a hole in the garden. So he'd started like say mid thigh. So he dig the hole deep enough that the barbell would be sitting on the ground at mid thigh, and then just add dirt back into the ground. So it's slowly coming back up. And I was like, that's dedication to wanting to get strong.
That's grounding while you're doing it.
But I've seen the picture of this, but I'm always confused. Like, is it Paul Anderson or Doug Hepburn that did that?
I think it's Paul Anderson because
Paul
that's where
Anderson?
Anderson squats came from. So how the bottom up squat's always called Anderson squat.
Yeah, but the digging the whole thing.
Oh,
So-
you think it's Hepburn?
I don't know. Like I'm
Not sure.
because they were both from a similar era.
Yeah.
and they were both big squatters. So sometimes I get confused. But which one is Canadian?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not good there.
I think there's one of them are Canadian, and I think it's whoever is Canadian did the hole in the backyard thing.
Imagine you mess up your lawn just to do that. Like
Worth it.
Yeah, okay. DC blocks.
No, but it was because he was using so much weight, right? And
Yeah.
it was like in the 30s or 40s.
Yeah, like it's a long time ago.
Okay.
So like he legit, like he would set up the barbell on the grass, okay? But then he'd dig a hole that was, I don't know, like 4 or 5 feet deep, and he even built some little wooden stairs, would go down.
Wow, it's always a big hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
There's
legit.
like stairs to get down to the
Yeah,
bottom.
so he could start with the barbell on his back.
Yeah.
And then he would go up the stairs, squat, and then just dump it back over the hole.
But
Insane.
and then you would do it. So say he's gonna just squat the top range. You just do the squat in the hole.
The hole. Wow.
Outside of primary exercises, what's your favorite exercise?
See the RDL. I like a little booty training. I like the stretch on the hamstrings and stuff. Yeah, I like that exercise.
Porrick?
I think standing good morning, which is really ruined my logic for wanting to train upper body more.
I used to hate good morning.
I love them.
But now I
I
do.
like
Now I like
mornings.
them better. But I used to hate them. Oh, they were so uncomfortable.
I much prefer them with a straight bar. Like
Yeah.
they're great with any bar, but with a straight bar that it doesn't feel like you're going to snap in half just as much would be preferable.
I like good mornings a lot. Steph, you?
Easy bar tricep extensions on the decline. That's my favorite.
On the decline?
Yeah,
With
Mine
chains.
I like it with chains.
Mine right now is the triple jumper. I like that one a lot. Just like the stretch of it, the challenge of it.
You better like it. It's in every field.
Well, exactly. Maybe I'd convince myself I really like it right now.
You're good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably. We always tend to choose what we're good at
Yeah.
for being what we like the most. I know
Sure.
you said RDLs because you like some booty training, and I know you always kind of bring up the whole glute focused.
Glute focused. I mean, it's just interesting to see how glutes have changed over the last 2 decades. When I started competing, I mean, the hip thrust hadn't been invented. I never saw anyone do that. And they had men had good glutes, but now with the hip thrust, I feel like
They got fantastic
everybody's,
asses.
and it's so crazy. Like you look at them and you're like, are they fake? Is it a BBL? Is it like, but you can tell, like if you have big glutes and big legs, they're usually your own. But the question is, with all the hip thrusts that people are doing, and not even just hip thrusts, but just glute specific exercises, that's all women want to do. What's it going to lead to? Like there's going to be an imbalance with the muscles because you're only working the glutes. You're not working the hip flexors or the abs and stuff. So it'll just be interesting to see
Well,
like
it
the
does-
problems that'll come up with that.
Like for these people, it doesn't matter because they're not training for functionality and balance. They're training purely for the look on stage.
Yeah, but it's not even just people who compete who do that. Like, you just go to, like, especially in Miami, like, they have just booty, like, just,
They
that's all
do
they
it for the looks, dressing up
I
on
know.
the street.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
but what's
she means
it-
like long term.
Long
Is there gonna be
term,
an
what's
option?
it
I know, but
European and
I
stuff.
understand. But I'm just saying that these people probably don't really care about that.
No, clearly they don't. But it'll be interesting to see, like, what it's going to lead to, the imbalances.
Yeah,
and
because
stuff.
there's no
like
saying
at one
it doesn't
point
work. It
yeah.
works.
Yeah,
Everyone,
it's like men only doing biceps. Well, not just men, but like, or just pecs. You know, it leads to imbalances. With your back, your rotators and stuff. So.
Yeah.
But
Stop
it's
just
interesting,
doing-
right? Because it's not like, because to me, it's not because of the existence of the hip thrust exercise. But I feel when the hip thrust became popular, and I would assume it comes from Brett Contreras,
Yeah.
but when it got popular, then and then combined with J-Lo and Shakira, like at the turn of 2000, I think that then people became obsessed with
it, for
glutes
sure.
because it's not like bodybuilders didn't have glute machines. Like almost every gym back in the days had the butt blaster type
And then
of
the
machine.
big one with the hip extension. Remember, you put your knee on the thing.
Yeah, butt
The
blaster,
kickback sort of thing.
kickback, butt blaster, whatever. But every gym, at least bodybuilding type gym, had that machine.
Yeah.
So it's not like you couldn't train your glutes, but I don't think it was as big of a
No, it wasn't as big of a focus.
an obsession, you know.
And it's that pose too, you know, the back pose that the bikini chicks do.
But it probably all coincided at the same time that social media kicked off.
Yeah.
So it just blew it up even more for the people to want to train that way.
and then for the people who are doing those glute focused days and programs, what would be the things that if they do want to maintain some balance, what would they focus on?
Getting hip flexors strong, both in a shortened and lengthened position, getting your abs strong.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones. You just need to make sure you're addressing the antagonist muscles. So if you're constantly just working your glutes and your hip flexors are going to be getting shorter and weaker, that will long term lead to lower back pain. Yeah. So just if you try and balance that out.
Any other closing? We talked about that for 50 minutes, guys.
Oh, wow. We're like, this is going to be a short one today.
Any other closing remarks on the topic of favorite, least favorite training?
I'm not a massive fan of eccentric isometrics.
we know who's Porik's favorite fitness celebrity. Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I'm good. I think we covered a decent amount of stuff.
Okay. So before we wrap up today's episode, so as we're approaching the sports seminar that we kick off this Friday, and then next weekend we have speed strength and max strength intensives. After that, we are done for education until we travel to Europe. We'll be in Amsterdam on August 17th for the Comprehensive Periodization Seminar. This is a one-day seminar. And then a week later, we'll be in Lyon, France, August 24th. This course will be taught in French. Again, it's the Comprehensive Periodization Seminar. Steph, you want to give us a few words on why you're excited for that seminar?
Yeah, so for those of you who did the online periodization course, so this course is basically a continuation of this in the sense that we're revisiting the periodization concepts associated to hypertrophy, absolute strength, relative strength, and power, but we're going to go deeper in its application, deeper in how to use the methods, the timing of the training methods, to optimize the periodization of these qualities to an even greater level, because a lot of the online course are the concepts, but now it's just going a little deeper with the application of it. So it's always easier on a live course. It's theory only, so it's the entire day of just me teaching you guys in front of a whiteboard. So it's going to be a little easier to get deeper. And pour tous nos amis francophones qui vont être en France, vous êtes les bienvenus à venir au cours. Ça va être mon deuxième cours enseigné en français. Donc, ça va être un peu plus stressant pour moi parce que je suis pas habitué. Je suis pas habitué avec les termes, mais vous êtes les bienvenus. Ça va être un bon cours, très complet, beaucoup plus poussé que ce que vous êtes habitué de voir dans nos cours en ligne. Puis, si vous parlez pas anglais, ça va être une opportunité pour vous de faire un cours avec nous à Lyon, en France.
My Duolingo lessons haven't caught up yet.
If you have any questions, make sure to email Por.
Google Translate is fantastic these days.
Thanks for tuning in, fam. We'll see you next week.